Background. Many years ago, just after giving birth to my daughter, I found out her father, now 52, was cheating on me, now 39 female, with two of my sisters. We'd been married 5 years at this point, and I was of course devastated. Neither of my sisters knew he was having an affair with the other, and it came out because my mom found out about my older sister, after which my younger sister admitted what was happening as well. When I confronted him, he didn't say a word. He walked out, and I didn't see him for nearly 4 years. He continued to send money each month, but there was no other contact or explanation for his behavior. I cut all ties with my sisters. They also never tried to contact me to apologize or see their niece. When it comes to family functions, my wider families always made it clear that if I'm coming, they're not welcome, but if I'm not there, they're welcome to come. I didn't ask for this, but my family said that I was the one who was hurt. I didn't deserve to feel awkward. This meant my daughter had never met her aunts, and as I had never had cause to talk about them, and my wider family didn't speak about them, she didn't know they were her aunts. When my daughter was a toddler, he sent a letter explaining that he had spent the last 2 years in therapy dealing with various mental and addiction issues. While it was no excuse for his behavior, he wanted to try and make amends. I was skeptical, but didn't want my daughter to never know her father, so we slowly started having more contact. My daughter's a teen now, and her father and I have a civil relationship. He supported her financially and emotionally as a father should, and he's always been respectful of my boundaries. I'll never forgive him for what he did. However, I do believe my daughter's better off for having him in her life. About a week ago, my older sister added my daughter on Facebook, and they got chatting. My sister told her she was her aunt and wanted to start mending old wounds. My daughter asked what she meant, but my sister refused to say. It wasn't her place, and told her to come talk to me. I was furious. I called my sister and screamed at her for upsetting my daughter and not coming to me directly. I thought it was manipulative and another example of why I didn't want her in my life. I then had to sit down with my daughter and explain what had happened. She was devastated and said she doesn't want any contact with her father. I told her I didn't want that. Despite the mistakes he had proven, he was a good father now, and what had happened was between me and him. She was adamant, however, and so I respected her wishes. Her father is devastated and believes it's my fault for telling her about the affair, and I should have made something up about why I fell out with my sisters. However, I don't think lying to her would have been right. I asked my friends, and a few of them said I should have protected my daughter's relationship with her dad, and her not having him about would hurt her more than if I had lied to her. So, am I the idiot? Not the idiot. You protected her when she was young. You gave Dad a shot with her. She's a teen now. She's not a little kid anymore. The truth came out as it usually does. You don't owe the cheater lies. You owe your daughter the truth. Your friends are idiots for telling you to protect the relationship. You've done that for a long time, and it's not your job to cover up his mistakes. He's benefited immensely from the way you've handled this. He has to find a way to work it out with your daughter when she's ready to hear from him. A man was having intimacy with 3 sisters and thought that was going to turn out well for him? Well, surprise, surprise, actions have consequences. Her father saying you should have made something up to tell her, aka lie to her, suggests that he hasn't changed as much as he makes out. What did you do wrong here? First, notice the only people accusing you are the same people who caused all of this. Classic narcissist move. Clearly, your family has taught you to be a scapegoat. All he was going to do was sneak back to bring more toxic crap, and your sister was enabling him. She started this by going to your daughter and hinting at old wounds, then told her to go to you. She literally forced this. Your sister wasn't trying to heal old wounds. She was probably angry your ex had a relationship with you and your daughter, and she's still excluded. So she decided to inflict some new wounds. She's still crappy to this day. If you never talk to these people again, your life will probably be better. Update. Am I the idiot for telling my daughter the real reason her father and I split up? Thank you so much, everyone, for your responses. I appreciate you all taking the time. It's so good to hear that the majority of you agree with what I did. It's so good to have a sanity check as I didn't feel like lying to her was the way to go, but I was so worried about doing the wrong thing. I'll definitely take on board what a few of you have said about giving her time. You're right, she's only just found this information out, so I get that her anger is off the scale. In regards to encouraging her to stay in contact with her father, I've let her know that she shouldn't feel like she shouldn't see him because of what he did to me. I'm over it and genuinely happy that she has or had a relationship with him. So if she does decide to go no contact, I've said to her she should do it for her reasons, not mine. And I, as well as the rest of our family, will always support her decision. I don't want to push or prod her into calling him, only because I know when I stopped talking to my sisters, had my family tried to push me into forgiving or seeing them, it would have caused resentment between them and me. I needed to do things in my own time and make my own decision, so I want to do the same for my daughter. Also, to clarify, I was 18 when we married, and he was 30. We met through a part-time job I had at the time at the pub on weekends. He, my ex, looked younger than he was. I looked older. I thought he was about 20. Looking back as an adult, I wouldn't say there was ever intentional manipulation on his part. What I mean by that is, I don't think he went out of his way to find a young girlfriend because he could manipulate me. But I accept that I was still very young and infatuated. He was very immature and didn't see an issue with the age difference when he clearly should have. We dated for 2 years before marriage, and when I introduced him to my parents, they said they did like him as a person at the time, but did also see red flags and knew that I was strong-willed, as they put it. They knew if they brought up the age difference and openly disapproved of the relationship, I would have pushed back. And they wanted to make sure we still had a good relationship, so that if they did start to notice signs of manipulation, etc., they were close by, could help, and also so I knew I could always come to them. My younger sister is adopted, so is only 3 months younger than me. We were all adults when they started hooking up. Of course, if my daughter brought home someone in their 30s, I'd be horrified, but she's exactly the same as I was at her age, and I hope I'd have the presence and calmness of mind that my parents did, so that I could make sure she always knew she had somewhere to turn if she ever needed it. So they started dating when OP was a teen, and he was 28 and got married 2 years later. I think OP still has the wool over her eyes about this dude, who seems like a creep, and should probably be kept from the daughter he fathered. I understand OP's point about her parents, but I just can't be convinced that sitting back and doing nothing while this unfolds is anything but enabling. OP's parents failed in a major way, and that's probably hard to reckon with. Yes, OP, she's the same age as you were when her father went after you. He thought a teen was old enough to date and have a relationship with a full-blown adult. Well, it's also old enough to know the truth about the parents' relationship and affair. And honestly, it's best if the daughter doesn't want to see him. She's much safer that way. I wonder when your daughter will do the math on that one, and whether she'll find yet another reason she doesn't want to be around him. My husband has a friend, Andy, who can't hold down a job, and there's always something wrong where he can't afford his rent. Andy always asks for money or a loan he doesn't pay back. Finally, my husband gives in and gives it to him. I'm talking thousands of dollars over the last few years my husband has loaned him. A few months ago, I told my husband, next time he gives Andy money, I'm gone. My husband was doing well until Andy showed up at our door last night and told my husband everyone had forgotten his birthday. So they go out for drinks. I do some snooping on Facebook, and Andy's birthday isn't until next month. And I screenshot a picture of my husband last year with him on Andy's real birthday in front of a Christmas tree. I go to the bar and show everyone that it's not Andy's birthday, and the room is dead silent. Andy said he put the wrong birthday on his Facebook account, so I showed him the picture of him from last year with the date posted of his real birthday. Andy said that it was a mistake, and everyone thinks the December date is right because it's on his Facebook. I asked Andy to show everyone his driver's license, and he said he had forgotten it. I asked the bartender if Andy could legally drink without proof of age, and the bartender said no. Andy refused to show his license and left. My husband said I was being a witch for no reason, but I reminded him that it's the first day of the month, And Andy always comes around looking for extra money. We argued about Andy once again. My husband stayed with a friend and I'm packing up my things because he acts like I'm the idiot for coming to the bar and saying publicly what I said. Just curious, is your husband building an art room? Not the idiot. File for divorce and let your husband and Andy live happily ever after. You deserve better. For real, your husband can adopt Andy if he wants to support him so badly financially. Andy's embarrassed for being called out because he got away with so much for so long. Your husband is embarrassed because that's his friend. OP, stand your ground. Money troubles await if your husband doesn't see the significance of giving out money to people without a second thought, who clearly won't pay a cent back. How good are any of these friends if none of them know Andy's birthday? I know some of my neighbors' birthdays. Andy's a leech. Your husband has on rose-colored glasses, and those type of people deserve to be called out, even if it makes them uncomfortable. But honestly, screw that. He's cost you thousands of dollars. That's a whole vacation or a root canal, just because he takes advantage of others. I don't care if I cause the scene myself. This dude is actively swindling your husband and draining your finances. I don't care if they're his finances or not. You're married. If one person is struggling financially or making dumb decisions, then all the finances suffer together, not just his. And if they're shared, heck no. Then he's actively lying to everyone about his birthday to mooch free drinks and money. My question is, why are they mad at you when you exposed them to everyone? They're getting scammed by someone they obviously care about. Who cares if it caused the scene at that point? Who cares if that man gets embarrassed? Embarrassment should be the least he gets from stealing thousands of dollars from a friend. You didn't go overboard. Your husband wants to choose his leech of a friend over you by all means. Leave him. I, 43 female, am currently searching for a nanny for my children. My son is a kindergartner and my daughter's a tween. We found one young lady yesterday that seemed like a great fit. We interviewed her in our home, explained our careers. I'm a lawyer and my husband is a trainer, and explained everything to her. She seemed happy with everything, was kind to us, and had no issues there. The problem came when I spoke to her about the dress code I expected. I noticed she had on leggings with a sweater today, which I guess was okay since she wasn't working, but I would have expected a little more for an interview. However, I told her I expected that she would not wear athletic clothes while she tends to the children, i.e. no leggings, yoga pants, sweats, etc. She kinda laughed and said, "So who do you want me to wear?" And my husband laughed, but I was serious. I told her that type of clothing is inappropriate since she's not working out. She's working. She seemed put off and said that's what she normally wears, and if she's going to be active with the kids, she needs to be dressed comfortably. I told her the expectations, and she said she understood and left. Later on, she told me she didn't think this would work out. Was I wrong for setting expectations? I don't think it's okay to walk around in tight clothing with my son and husband present. Plus, she should be dressed like she's working. She's a professional. A teacher wouldn't dress that way. My husband said I'm overreacting. Am I the idiot? I don't think walking around in tight clothing with my son and husband present is okay. Tell us you're a misogynist without telling us you're a misogynist. You are the idiot, OP. As this woman said, if she's going to be active with the kids, then she should dress comfortably. What exactly do you want a nanny to do? Sit around and do nothing but look at the kids? She's a nanny, not a fashion model. She needs to be comfortable looking after the children, playing with them, etc. I think leggings and a jumper are better for that. Your example of a teacher is silly. She's not a teacher. She's a nanny. Also, she's quite insecure about her husband. Especially strange to me, considering her husband is a trainer. What clothes do you think he's looking at literally all day in his professional setting? OP, you realize your husband still can try to cheat, even if she's wearing a potato sack, right? I guess husband and son aren't allowed in public either. It would be too inappropriate to expose them to all the women wearing leggings and crop tops in stores. The horror. OP, I'm terrified of how you'll treat your daughter. You're clearly ingraining the horrific attitude into her head that women are to blame for the lusting of men. Honestly, I would have noped out of that job just for that if I were her. For context, both of my parents are Mexican, and although they both speak English very well, my dad sounds a bit like Gloria from Modern Family. So when we're with him, my siblings, 26 male, 22 female, and teen male, and I only speak Spanish. My older brother got married to his wife, 28, 2 years ago. None of my siblings are like her because she believes she's the smartest girl in the world and is always correcting us on some crap. Mrs. Smarty Pants only knows one language, so my parents speak English when she's dining with us. Yesterday, my mom made a fantastic dinner and invited my brother, his wife, and my sister to come and eat with us. My brother and I were talking about Pangea, and as soon as she came through the door, she corrected us on the pronunciation, even though we said it in Spanish and not English. We just rolled our eyes and said nothing because we didn't want to spoil dinner. My parents said hi, and she said some more witchy comments, and we all sat to eat. We're not a quiet family. We can all talk together or do it in groups. Since my sister-in-law was there, we were speaking English, and my younger brother and I were talking to my dad about a movie where a guy escaped on a boat, and my dad was saying boat as bought. My bro and I didn't care because it was pretty obvious, given the context, but she said, "It's not bought, it's boat." My innocent dad tried to say boat, but again, he did it with the bought sound. And she said, "No, boat, not bought, boat." And my dad was obviously embarrassed. He tried it again, but she just sighed and said, "Boat, it's..." But I cut her off and said, "You're being a witch. He can't say it. So what? He's not talking to you anyway." Both my brother and my mom looked at me. Still, my sister-in-law said, "I was just helping." But I said, "No, you're being rude. How many languages do you speak to be correcting someone?" My dad took my hand and smiled. Still, things got awkward and they left. My brother's demanding I apologize because I was an idiot. My dad doesn't think I should do it, and my mom isn't sure. So I don't know. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. But if you ever do apologize, apologize in Spanish. And if they do come back without apologizing, then never speak English in front of her again. You all should be done accommodating her rude self, and Big Bro can spend every visit translating. Both perpetrators will then be punished. Why isn't your sister-in-law putting her energy into learning Spanish? The entire family speaks Spanish. Then it's time for her to step up and start learning. Then she won't have time to criticize others who've done nothing wrong. The goal of the language is communication. Therefore, if pronunciation and grammar do not hinder communication and comprehension, it's not a problem. She wasn't just being rude as heck. She was being racist. Your mom is not sure because she doesn't want a rift in the family, but that's not an excuse. The fact that your brother let and continues to let his wife treat your family that way and then continuously embarrass your father like that says so much about him. Do not apologize, and if I were your mother, I'd be putting my foot down and refusing to let your brother and his crap wife over until they both apologized. Her for her behavior and him for allowing her to act like that towards his family. Clearly she wants to be the absolute smartest person to everyone she knows. She was probably a teacher's pet in school too.